everybody. This is Dawn Burke, and you are watching No Scrubs, the only show on the internet guaranteed to help you have no bad hires. Of course, I'm Dawn Burke. I am a contributor at Fistful of Talent, and No Scrubs is also brought to you by our friends at Jobvite. That's Jobvite. And also, in my real job, I am the VP of People for Birmingham-based tech company WorkXO. So, today, we're going to talk about a job post asking if you can discriminate against boring people. So I thought the perfect guest to talk about boring people is actually one of the most non-boring people I know. Charlie Judy, founder of WorkXO. How are you today, Charlie?
I'm good. What's going on, Dawn and crew? Nice to see your voices again and your faces. I want to know before I get started, though, what's the guarantee in all of this, like guaranteed no bad hires? If I get a bad hire from watching your No Scrubs podcast, are you giving me a refund or something?
Yeah, I'll give you a refund on the prime price you paid for this, which would be zero. Happy to give you a refund. Of course, the valuable advice you get here is priceless. So, I don't know.
Okay.
Somewhere in between zero and priceless.
I'm buying.
Very good. Well, Charlie, tell everybody what you do. What are you up to?
I'm up to a lot. I got crazy stuff flying these days. My day job is that I run a company with two other pretty cool people, also not boring people. The company's called WorkXO, and we're kind of a culture shop. We help organizations first understand their culture at what we like to say is a genetic level, so down into the weeds, that in a way that produces data that you can actually do something with. And then we help you do something with it. So we help you turn it into something that's actionable and meaningful and is effectively aligned with what drives your success. We know that organizations and people aren't very good at taking data and actually doing the stuff that needs to get done. And so getting intentional about it is really important, and that's what WorkXO does.
Excellent, excellent. Also, you're doing a lot of work in Chicago up there for Disrupt HR, aren't you?
We are, yeah. We have our second event of 2016 tomorrow, and I have 250 people showing up, 250 people plus. We have a waiting list of 150 or 140, so it's been very well received in the Chicagoland area, and we're excited about it.
All right. Well, if you're in the Chicagoland area, get your name on the waiting list. And if you can't come this time, come next time. It's a great event. All right, let's talk about the important stuff, the post. So, well, that was important too, Charlie, just so you know. But let's talk about something I wrote. All right.
Yeah.
It's called Can I Discriminate Against Boring People? Yes, I can. And actually, folks, for a recap of what the post is about, really it talks about my experience using video interviewing here at my company, and that there's a whole lot of people who video interview who are incredibly engaging, but then there's a big subset of folks that I was surprised were actually very boring, quite boring. So I thought, if somebody bores me in a video interview, can I discriminate against them and say, hey, you're not going through the process, buddy. Then typically what the post talks about is really no matter how you interview, candidates really need to do their best to engage, no matter the medium. And then the rest of the post is just giving HR pros some tips that they can provide people who are doing video interviews so they'll succeed. So Charlie, you before WorkXO were CHRO, and you've done a considerable amount of recruiting, correct?
I have, yeah. I wish I counted the number of people that I've recruited in the 25 years that I was actually an HR leader, but I'm guessing it's in the tens of thousands.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So then you're great to talk about this. So the first thing I would say, have you ever passed on a candidate because they bored you? Of the tens of thousands of people?
Yeah, I mean, maybe tens of thousands is a little bit of a stretch, but heck yeah. I mean, I don't like the word discrimination, though, in this discussion, because it's not discrimination. I mean, it's I think that where all organizations need to start, where all recruiters need to start with is what are the things that I know are going to not only drive success for my organization, but are going to help this candidate be successful if and when they get on board. And if boring is not one of those things, then boring ought to be part of what you're assessing for. Whether you call it boring or whether I like the word that you used, engaging, I do think it's the candidate's responsibility to demonstrate that they are engaged and that they are enthusiastic and that they are engaging, not just engaged, but engaging. I think where you come into maybe some challenge is that there probably are some roles out there where boring's not only not an issue, but it could be a good thing.
Sure.
You could hire and need some people that have a little boring in them, because guess what? The job you're hiring for is freaking boring. So
all right. So like what?
Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going to make that kind of claim. That's all relative. I'm
That's
just
true.
saying that.
Okay.
But it goes back to the original. It goes back to the original point, which is the recruiter or the organization or the hiring manager needs to make a really good kind of introspective scan of, okay, what do we really need to see in this person?
Yes.
I think that sometimes organizations pretend to have this kind of set of non-negotiables that they apply to their candidates. Like, you must be X, Y, and Z in order to be successful here. I mean, if you can say that without fail, then awesome. Apply that to every candidate. But I think sometimes you got to take it down to the job level, or you got to take it down to even the location level. I mean, it is possible that you've got one group of people, and for whatever reason, boring really works at that location. It doesn't work over here.
Yeah.
And again, I'm totally
sure.
Generalizing it, but I think you've got to take it down to the individual level.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I mean, first of all, let's do a level set. Boring is not protected, so you can officially discriminate against boring people. Given all the disclaimers that they're not as a part of some other subset of protected class. Number two, I do agree with you. If it doesn't matter for the job that the person's boring, then probably it's not the best way to deselect someone. However, Charlie, I think one of the things I'm hearing from you, though, is, or I would include, is that right now the competitive landscape, would you agree, is huge for candidates? I mean, as a recruiter, over the years, you hired tens of thousands or recruited thousands and thousands of people. I know here we're a small company and we get tons and tons of applications and resumes. I think there probably is some onus on candidates, however, to own the experience and know that if they don't somehow wave a flag and get my attention, there might be a problem getting them to the top of the pile. Agree?
Yeah, I mean, the question that I would have is there a way to actually assess that, candidate's ability to wave the flag before you even have a conversation with them? Like, does it have to be a live conversation to assess whether or not that candidate is in fact boring or engaging? Is there something that they can do, or is there something that we should be asking them to do in advance? Should they be submitting a 30-second song and dance? Should they be submitting a 30-second elevator speech on why they should hire us? I mean, again, that's all relative to the position, to the organization, and to the candidate. I think there are additional screening things that we should be doing that we wait too long into the process to layer in.
Such as?
I'm doing some recruiting right now.
Yeah.
And for an organization, and until I have a live conversation with the candidate, and in fact, the first live conversation I'm having with the candidate is really just to determine that this person is not, the Walking Dead, that
right.
they are mature and professional and can engage in a conversation and for all intents and purposes demonstrates the skills and the experiences that they've claimed on their resume. That's a quick conversation, but I can tell in 5 minutes whether or not the person clears that hurdle. Do I need to have a live phone conversation to do that, or are there other ways to do that?
Sure. Sure. And I think you bring up a point that I put in the post. There is some onus on the recruiter, the company, the HR team to help the candidate succeed, particularly when you're talking about a new platform such as video interviewing, which still is quite new. Even the most experienced of people still, when they see themselves on camera, get a little gun shy. So I do think there is some onus, whether it's, should there be a call first? Should there be some sort of links to help people with some go-to tips on how to make the video interviewing experience better? I do think that there is some onus right now for there to be a little training, because we don't want people to fail because they're not used to a technology.
So let me just ask you a question back. I mean, do you give candidates a pass or the benefit of the doubt, or do you weight the experience because A, the technology is going to be new for some people. B, you probably didn't take the time to prep them or train them for what they should be doing.
Yeah.
C, I mean, I'm on video conversations all day long, and it still can be awkward.
I know, Charlie, it really is. You really are awkward on video.
Stop, all right? And the sound can break, the technology can break, the camera can't work. There's lots of things that can happen.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Well, a couple of things. First of all, the first step of the interview process is not the video interview. The first step is a phone call after a resume screen. So like you said, I think there is some nuances there that you're going to hear in a live conversation. Number two, we then, if they go to the next level, we do a video interview and we send them a whole bunch of links about, here are different things that will teach you how to use the platform. Here's some things that'll make you more successful. And I think we even have our own little video that we've created ourselves to help people learn. And then, of course, there is just that, I think there's just that being a good person test. Listen, we're poking fun at the title of being boring, but I think we always have to give some people the benefit of the doubt. If the sound broke up, okay, that's fine. Now, I'll tell you, though, if it's an SVP of software engineering role and they're giving me a whole lot of problems about I couldn't link on and my internet didn't work and they can't solve the problem with a simple platform, red flag. So there we go. All right, so you think this video interview and things going anywhere, Charlie? Or is it a fad?
No, I don't think it's a fad. I think how it's being used will only become more and more dynamic. I think organizations are going to figure out how to use video and kind of a more real interaction with a candidate at various stages in the process is important. I mean, I think it's all about context. Good recruiters, they've got a good radar. And that radar, although maybe not classified entirely as legitimate business criteria, is still an important thing to consult when assessing a candidate. And as you said earlier, when you're literally talking to hundreds of people a week, you've got to look for any additional piece of context that you can. And video is a great piece of context.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think it's going anywhere.
Good. I tend to agree with you on that as well. And we have to ask you a little bit about culture, since you are in the culture business right now. What do you think that candidates can discern throughout an interview process about a company's culture?
Yeah, so I mean, I think for the same reason, there's context to that, right? I mean, how does the recruiter themselves present?
Good point.
Are they engaging? Have they found a way to make you feel at ease with this format? I mean, I think the more important question is the candidate ought to be using every opportunity, every interaction with the organization to assess what it's really like to work there, just as much as that recruiter is taking the time to assess what you may be like as a candidate or as an employee in this organization. We don't two-way street it enough, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think we've trained candidates on how to really to look at the context and to assess it. Was the recruiter interrupted during the interview? Did they pick up the phone when it rang?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can start to build your own impression around. And that's part of the culture. The culture is what you are going to experience.
Yes.
It's the context, it's the color, it's the behaviors, the actions, the values, the beliefs. And that starts with the moment you first meet that organization. And you shouldn't put any of that context on the sidebar or on the back burner because it's just as important. Maybe even more important than it is after you've walked in the door.
Yes, yes. So I think one of the things that we all must remember, folks, is that we can flip this around. If you as a recruiter, as an HR pro, as a leader, as a hiring manager, also have to be sure you're just as engaged as you expect the candidate to be. Very good. All right, so last question. You pulling for my Indians to get to the World Series?
You know what? I'm a baseball fan. I'm a Cardinals fan, and they're not in the picture this postseason, so that's okay with me.
All right, good.
I think the Indians are a worthy team. They had kind of an unexpected season. They're a little bit of the unsung heroes. It's also Cleveland's a great baseball town, so I'll root for the Indians.
Yay!
You know, I live in Chicago, so we've got really something quite really unprecedented going on here right now, and that is a run with a team that has not seen luck for literally 100 plus years. And so I'm interested to see what happens with the Cubs this year.
I was going to say, what a story if the Cubs play Cleveland. I think that would be really, really good. Really interesting.
It would be a fantastic series. It'd be great for baseball. It
would too. I would agree. All right, guys. Charlie Judy, WorkXO. Check them out. What's your handle, Charlie?
In the Twitter sphere, it's at HR Fishbowl, www.workxo.com. And yeah, that's it.
And there you go, friends. Charlie, thank you so much for your time today. Again, this is Dawn Burke with No Scrubs, brought to you by Fistful of Talent and, of course, Job Fight. Till next time. See y'all later.
Bye, guys.